Good morning. Just checking in. I just about to start work and started the morning off getting up and getting to the gym and doing some legs, and then took Biggie for a walk. I realised that I've got like a diamondy, a studded top underneath. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, you can't. And it's just coming up really weird. And then took Biggie for a walk in the morning after gym, did some meditation, and now I'm just getting stuck into work. And I have, not gonna lie, I've had a few months of kind of real poor training, poor eating habits. I think it's really important to have kind of that conversation, and I've said it a few times before, where you kind of ebb and flow in terms of your training and your eating habits. And I've definitely kind of lost some strength, put on some weight, and you can see even my skin, it's like really coming out in terms of what's going on in my body with my nutrition. I find my body is pretty sensitive to like the changes of a routine, or whether that be eating routine, eating habits, or training, or whatever's going on in my life, whether it's stress or emotion, what have you. So I find that it definitely all just comes out into my body, which some ways is a good way. It's like a little cursor of saying, oh, something's up, or sometimes it's not always the best habits to have, what experience to have, because I think it's not ideal, really, to be honest. So but last week I pretty much didn't have any training. I didn't go to the gym at all. I have just had a bit of a low time. So I think there's a few things that are going on at the moment where it has affected my training and my nutrition. And I think when you stop training and stop eating well, it's even harder to get back onto that kind of horse again and start training. And I find as well, like, it's the colder month, we're in winter, you're waking up and it's really cold, in the low 10 degrees. So, 5, 6, 7 degrees when you wake up in the morning. And it's just dark, and, all the excuses in the world to not get out of bed. But this week I really wanted to get my head right and my training right. I had a really nice weekend with a friend of mine in Newcastle, and it was just lovely to get by the beach again and go for walks and kind of have those conversations with a friend. Sometimes you need to just talk it out, like how you're feeling, and she's a great friend in that regard. And I'm really happy to be able to have those conversations and like talk it out. And then you feel, one, things aren't as bad as what you probably think they are, and two, there's like, okay, well, let's get motivated, let's try something, let's do X, Y, and Z to get you back on track. So I found that really helpful. So this morning, like I said, I got up at 4. Biggie I wanted to sleep through my alarm, and actually did for about 20 minutes. I woke up at 20 past 4, and then Biggie also got up to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, I've got to get up and get ready to go to the gym. And I always say this, I do that. I get up, I get prepared, do my workout, that type of a routine. It really sets me up for success for the rest of the day. And I think that in terms of being motivated at work, feeling good, you get all of those happy hormones from training, and just kind of being out. And sometimes before the sunrise, my aim today was to go down to the beach to watch the sunrise, but I decided I'll be in that area this afternoon because I've got a chiro appointment. So I'll do a bit of a walk on the beach this afternoon, which will be nice. So yeah, I've had a bit of trouble with my back and my hips, and I've been really kind of conscious of that, and it's really, you know, I want to take care of it before it becomes an issue. So my dad's going to a chiropractor, and I kind of had a chat with him and booked a consult today. So I'm hoping that it's a matter of getting a few x-rays done, seeing what's going on, and then just going into a bit of therapy with exercises and stretching. I feel like I'm not as flexible as I used to be, primarily because I've stopped going to yoga. And I feel that made such a huge difference to my flexibility. So I think it's been a bit of a slow month in that regard, but getting back on track, just knowing the importance, like, you know, am I just saying like I'm not going to do all these things because they're expensive, but then paying $30 for a breakfast, which actually could have been the same amount of money to go to a yoga session, if not, you know, it'd be cheaper. So it's prioritizing what is important. And at the moment, and as it always should be, my health is the thing that I feel like I really want to obviously maintain and is most important. And that consists of working out and eating right. So, and actually the recovery process is really important. And I think that's where I've lacked a little bit. So having those realizations over the weekend, really, I'm hoping just that I'm getting back into my old good habits of eating well, not overeating, and exercising 4 times a week as a minimum. You know, I think if you can do your first training on a Monday, like it's a non-negotiable, and I feel like you can get into that mindset of like Monday is the day I train without any kind of ifs, ands, or buts. It's, you know, sets up you for the week. It gets that first training session out of the way, so you can kind of that kind of psychological barrier is kind of broken in that regard. And yeah, I think it's really helpful. So watch this space. I'm really trying to get back into that motivation. I've been really normally pretty good at self-motivating, but sometimes I think, you know, things need to change, and they have to change because you're not doing what you used to do. So motivating either by listening to podcasts that are really motivational, speaking to friends like I did over the weekend that are really great at motivating you and kind of sitting right there with you like, hey, let's do this together, let's check in, let's be accountable. And, you know, having a good PT, a good gym environment to go to as well is really helpful. And, you know, I've like said in a few other videos where I've moved further away from my gym. And at the moment, I'm loath to leave that gym because I've been going there for the last 20 years. It's a friend of mine's gym. I'd rather give money to that friend, but what that does, as opposed to like a franchise, but what that does mean is it's a longer journey to get there, and which means the motivation has to be deep to go. So I'm really trying to ensure that I stay on course for that. So yeah, I just wanted to check in with that little, I guess, thought that it does get hard. I do feel like I'm trying to kind of, I guess, dig my way up from where I've been in terms of a bit of a slump of exercise and nutrition, but we'll get there. I'm motivated. I want to do it. I don't want to be a 43-year-old that can't, like, that has hip and neck pain and whatever else and can't maneuver up a set of stairs. So, because that leads into further issues down the track when we get older. So I'm definitely not sitting my laurels for that. That's not in the game plan. So we're snapping out of it, we're getting motivated, and we're getting to the gym or exercise. Just move it. Like, if you don't have access or can't afford to go to a gym, I get it, it's totally expensive. Going for walks, going for runs, going to like Kmart and getting like cheap kind of weights is really good. Weight training as you get older is super important. So you can pick up some cheap dumbbells at Kmart or even a kettlebell and just start doing those exercises at home. Flexibility and stretching is so important. So that's another area that I think is a non-negotiable. So let's do this together, and hopefully this is, you know, the sign of things to come and turning over a new leaf in terms of exercise and nutrition and well-being. So I hope everyone has a magical day today, and keep on just keep on moving forward. I think that's the key. So everyone have a great day. Bye.